All right, guys, it's time for part 2 of the Q&A. All right, guys, we're going to get into this part 2 of this Q&A. Again, I asked you guys on Instagram, what questions do you have for me? And I took a whole bunch of them and I answered them. If I remember, I'll put part 1 down in the description below, the link. If not, well, you can go back to the channel and look for it if you're interested in watching. Please, you know the whole spiel. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Don't forget, this month, January, Whatnot. Download the Whatnot app. I'm doing an auction every Monday night at 8:30 Eastern on Whatnot. They're going to be themed. The first one is runs, miniseries, and lots. And then amazing. The next one is Spider-Man, then Batman, then X-Men, and then another big mystery box auction at the end of the month. So, guys, if you haven't already, use the link down below in the description for $10 off your first purchase over on Whatnot. Give me a follow, VERYGARY_comics. And while you're doing that, follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all those things. So that's it. Let's get into it. Again, these questions came directly from you. So, hey, let's do a little answer session here. Number 1 on the list for today. Most desired comic to find in the wild. Basically, and I think I answered this kind of in part 1 too. I do want a Detective Comics 168, which is the first Red Hood. But honestly, at the end of the day, anytime I find something in the wild for my PC, it's a successful collection. Whether it's 1 book, 2 books, 3, doesn't matter. It's always the goal. Yeah, the goal is to turn around, make money, use that money to increase, the books for your PC or statues or toys or whatnot. That's always great. But actually finding a book for my personal collection in the wild is always fun, and it always gets me a little more excited than just finding a really good collection. Just to add something to my personal collection. That's always the goal. That's how it started, and that's where it is today. Same thing. Number 2 here. You have any specific Grail targets for 2022? Geez, that's kind of the same question. Sorry. Again, Detective Comics 168. If that counts as a Grail, I'd like to find an AF-15. I'd like to find a Tales of Suspense 39, Journey into Mystery 83. These are books I've never found in the wild, which kind of covered in part 1. How do you balance home life with comic life? Seems like what you do takes a lot of work. It takes a tremendous amount of work and time. So I do have a regular job, right? I don't do comics for a living. I do comics for fun. I do YouTube for fun. The only real answer to this is I have a very, very, very supportive and understanding wife. Like, she is a huge part of my success because she allows me to have time. She helps me. She gives me the time to do that, to make these videos, to go out, buy collections. And that's like this much of everything. Guys, if you've ever purchased a comic book collection, if it's 1 long box or 10, you understand and you know just how long it takes to go through that collection, break it down, price stuff out, clean books, press books, send them to CGC if you happen to be doing that. You get lucky enough for a good enough collection where you can do that. It takes time, a lot of time. So it's a hard balance for me. Again, if I didn't have the wife I had, I don't think I would be able to do this as successfully as I am. It may be like a half-ass attempt at YouTube and the collections. So that's really how it works out. I mean, I have nothing else to say about it. Like, that's like 90% is my wife. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if you're watching this, love you. All right. What advice do you give to new comic YouTube channels that you want to grow? All right. So the best advice that was ever given to me was actually from Gem Mint. He said consistency. He said, whether it's 1 video a week, 2 video weeks, 3 days a week, post that video every week at the same time, even if it's just 1 video. So people know when your videos come out. You guys, a lot of you guys know I post videos Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and they come out at 11 o'clock Eastern, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We do live shows that just kind of spontaneously come up when we're doing an auction. I try to do my best to let you guys know, but at the end of the day, consistency for the newer YouTube channels out there, consistency. If you can only do 1 video every other week, do 1 video every other week and make sure it's at the same time. And actually, to even go further than that, Oh no, I guess I lost my train of thought. That's probably the best thing. Consistency, consistency, consistency. That's it. Here's what I was going to say. You know, don't overdo it right away. Like if you can only put out one video every other week, put out one video every other week. You can always increase to like, all right, I'm going to put one video out every week. But that's the best advice I could give is consistency. Who or what are some of the up and coming channels people should check out? 1,000% honest, guys. I barely watch YouTube. I don't have the time. To kind of go back to one of these other questions, like how do I balance home life with comic life? I don't have the time to play video games with my friends. I don't have the time to check out new YouTube channels. I barely even watch my friends on YouTube. Like it's very rare. If I didn't have my regular job, I would have a lot more time. I could do a lot more on YouTube, like watching stuff, and I could do more here at home and work. But no, I mean, I have no time. So I actually apologize because I know there's a tremendous amount of great content out there and fabulous channels, whether they're new or old. You just have to go out and search. So kind of a dud of an answer. Sorry about that. So did the wife talk you into the beard? Kind of makes you look like a wise comic guru. Actually, I just literally shaved today. No, does she like the beard? Yeah, she does. She likes it. But no, just kind of happened. Actually, it happened. I don't know when it happened. The first time. I have no idea. Where did you get the display racks for the wall books at cons, or is there instructions how to make them? I actually stole the idea from another vendor, this guy, Rob, really super nice guy. I think he's out of Virginia. I forgot the name of his actual company, but he had these racks built, and we were talking, and I was looking at him, and he said, he told me how he did it. It's all wood. And I just took some pictures, and I asked him, like, is it all right if I make these things? He's like, yeah, go ahead. He goes, I would recommend, I forgot what he said, like one thing on his that he said don't even do because it didn't add space or help like when you're loading the vehicle. But anyway, I literally just took pictures of his racks and I just recreated them. That's it. It's all wood. They're heavy. The reason I like mine versus all those A-frames is it gives you more room in your booth space. So if you have a 10 by 20 booth space and you have an A-frame setup, you're losing a lot of space to maneuver around in your booth because, an A-frame takes up like this, an A-frame, where mine is literally vertical and just has little notches to hold the racks out, the actual racks where the books are. So instead of the whole rack being angled so the books don't fall off, it's little nubs and the individual racks. I mean, I can't with my hands. If you ever saw at the convention where I set up and you saw my racks, you'd understand. Gives me and my buddy Juan and anyone else in my booth hanging out more room to walk around. I like that better than the A-frame. And it's more stable, in my opinion. And it's not made out of PVC. But none of those things are wrong. They're bad. A lot of vendors use PVC stands and they're fantastic. Just for me personally, I like the ones I have. Did CGC ruin comic collecting? Man, that's actually a really good question. And I wholeheartedly would say absolutely 1000% no. CGC, if anything, helped the comic collecting industry. And I'll go as further and say PSA in the card collecting community, all these third-party grading companies, CBCS with comics, CGC, any of these they've helped the hobby. If anything, they've added value to our hobby. They've added value to the sports collectors. They've helped us. You now have a third-party company, whether you like them or not, giving you a grade on your book. So there's no more disagreements between two people at a show for a raw book. I mean, it gives definitive value to a book, and you can check it literally on the market. Like you can see where these books are going and which grades. So, I mean, no, I absolutely don't think so. I mean, it's across the board. It's not a direct CGC thing. It's a grading company thing. Look at the hobbies. Look at sports cards right now, man. It's a huge boom. PSA, the grading card company for cards, has like a 6-month backlog. Look at CGC, a 6-month backlog. The people are using these companies. No, I don't think they have. Now, of course, there's going to be people out there that do, and you're all going to let me know. All of you guys who don't like CGC are going to let me know in the comments, and that's fine. You're totally entitled to your opinion. because I guess at the end of the day, mine is an opinion as well. No, I don't believe they hurt the industry. I actually think they helped the industry, but I'm sure there's people out there that disagree, and that's totally fine. What's your favorite con to attend? My favorite convention to attend, I haven't been there in 3 years now because they moved the date to right after New York Comic Con. But my favorite convention to attend was Baltimore Comic Con because they had on-site grading. It was a very, very comic book heavy convention. Tons of talent, tons of artists and writers, very, very limited actors and actresses, maybe a half a dozen to 10, 6 to 10, maybe. Everything else was artists, writers. You had CGC doing on-site grading. I've never, ever vended, never sold at Baltimore Comic Con. I literally go there to buy. But since they've moved it from September to late October, which is after New York Comic Con, I have not been there. It's unfortunate because it's a great show, but I haven't been there in years. Other than that, I do enjoy Terrificon. I do sell at Terrificon, but I enjoy Terrificon mostly because it's like a Baltimore Comic Con, another one little notch down. Like usually CGC attends, but they don't do on-site grading. Terrificon also goes heavy on artists and writers, which I enjoy. So it's like, I don't want to say a poor man's Baltimore because Baltimore is like a really good show, but it's like just a lower level. Now, if Terrificon had on-site grading, I'll tell you, it would start to creep up right near Baltimore Comic Con. But that's how close they are. But that's just my opinion, which a lot of these questions are just opinions. Overall, do you trust CGC? I absolutely do. I trust CGC because I know when they do make a mistake, they'll acknowledge they make a mistake and then they fix that mistake. So yes, I do trust CGC. When did you first get into comics and when did you start collecting? I've been into comics since the 90s. I mean, I was reading just like a bunch of you guys watching right now. I was reading those Maximum Carnage run. I was reading the Gambit miniseries, the Sabretooth miniseries, the die cut. Like I was the Gambit #1 with the shiny cover. Like I was reading those things. I was buying all those like 3-packs at Toys R Us and then those 3-packs like at 7-Eleven. So I was buying those things and reading those things. I took a break for a long time, but I had never stopped liking the comic book characters. I always, X-Men, Batman Adventures, watching all those cartoons, and even like the Iron Man and Fantastic Four cartoons in the 90s. Like I watched all that. And then even in college, I was watching Teen Titans, which is maybe one of my favorite. People sleep on how good Teen Titans was. Not Teen Titans Go, like the Teen Titans cartoon. I was watching all that. Like those were great cartoons. And then, second part of this, and when did you start collecting? So I really started collecting hardcore when I was always collecting the Batman black and white statues, but I started collecting more comic books when the New 52 came out, and right around the 0-year story arc of Batman New 52. Right then is when I really started collecting. I put that whole run together, and then I started getting into CGC stuff. So you're looking at like 2014, like really diving in deep by 2015. Boy, this is going long. Not comic related, but always wanted to know, what are your top 3 favorite Pearl Jam albums? Well, my top 3 Pearl Jam albums. I might get hate for this from the PJ fans, but my number 1 favorite Pearl Jam album is actually Versus, and then 10. For all you guys who are Pearl Jam fans, like, have you ever really sat down and put on the Versus album and let it play through? It's literally like a greatest hits album. Versus is unbelievable. Then 10, and then I actually really liked Lightning Bolt. I really liked some of the newer stuff because Vitalogy and No Code and the Avocado album, like there's like a bunch of good songs on there, but then there's some that are like, meh. So I don't know. My number 3 might be, Gigaton is like, I don't know. Live on 2 Legs is pretty cool, but I don't know if that even counts because it's kind of a compilation. Lost Dogs is actually a good album. It's a double disc, double record. Actually, it might even be, I don't know if it's on vinyl. That's all songs that never made it onto albums, and there's like some really good stuff on there. So I don't know what my number 3 would be. I really liked the Lightning Bolt album. So I don't know. Also, my wedding song is on that. I'm pretty sure my wedding song is on the Lightning Bolt album. So I don't know, a little biased. Last one here, guys. What was your first Batman key that you got in your PC? I think I covered this a little bit last time. I don't know if it counts as as an actual key, but Batman #1 from the New 52. I love it. I have it triple signed in a 9/8. That's my original copy that I bought, not off the rack, but off of somebody. I still have it in my personal collection. I think I had one of my earlier major Batman keys was actually a Batman 181, which is the first appearance of Poison Ivy. I had it in a 4.5, and then I sold it. And then I got upset because I was trying to put, at that point, I was like, man, because I was trying to sell a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, well, I need to streamline. I need to focus. I need to do the right thing here. What do I want to collect? And I said, I'm going to do Batman Rogues. And I'm like, man, I sold my first Poison Ivy. And then lo and behold, I came across the collection, which had a first Poison Ivy in it, got it graded, and it came back a 4.5. Now I have a 5.5, but because I'm always trying to upgrade. But that's it. That's all the Q&A, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll probably do another one sometime late next year in December again. A lot of good questions in part 1 and part 2. And if you stuck around this long, thank you. I appreciate you guys watching. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys, this is just the beginning of 2022. Fingers crossed we have another phenomenal year in the comic book industry. Let's hope. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. And as always, keep it comics.